So it's time for the meditation. I'm bringing your attention to the moment here and now. Observing your sitting body. And spend a few moments on the breath, just to relax yourself, composed and fully relaxed. As you are observing your body sitting here and now, making sure that you are fully relaxed and checking any tensions in your body. As you breathe in, experiencing the entire body inflates. As you breathe out, deflates. So there is an inflation and deflation of the entire body due to the breath coming in and going out. So this process of inflation and deflation would be the primary object of the practice today. Simply observing the entire body, how it inflates and how it deflates, and what is the cause of it. And try not to control the process and try not to think about it, but simply observing it. So the mind is simply observing this process of inflation and deflation of the entire body, is to help the mind to be concentrated and be aware of what's happening in the moment here and now. By observing this helps your mind to be concentrated, an ability to recognize this mind by observing the sensation that takes place due to the breath coming in and going out, the expansion and contraction of entire body happens. Ability to see the mind, whether that mind is in a positive or a negative thoughts or feelings, and how to maneuver it to the positive. Okay. Hi, good evening. Today we are still on the first discourse. So today is on the views. On the views, first is the theory about the past. So there are other principles: a deep heart and a sea, hard to understand, peaceful, sublime, and beyond the scope of a logic, and subtle and comprehensible to the astute, which the realized one makes known after realizing them with his own insight. Those who genuinely praise the realized one would rightly speak of these things. And on the 18 grounds, so the first four grounds is on the eternalism. There are some ascetics and group of people and Brahmins who are eternalists, who assert that the self and the cosmos are eternal on four grounds. First, there will be a person who there it's when some ascetic or Brahmin, by dint of keen, resolute, committed, and a diligent effort and a right focus, experiences an immersion of the heart of such a kind. They recollect there are many kinds of past lives, from one life to 100,000 rebirths, and then they remember that in those lives there were there were named like this, born in this clan and this clan, or so on, and add this food and add that food, and after they passed away from those realms, again reborn in another place, and there again they able to recognize where what their name were and how they stayed, how they lived, and so on. On the basis of that understanding, they will take a view that this cosmos and uh, the self is eternal, never ending, because they say that they know that they have seen it, they have understood it, and it's continue changing one after another, but continue the self and the cosmos remains the same. And the second group of second ground, that there are some ascetic and Brahmins, after cultivating the ability to recollect and their past lives, and so they can remember eons, so from continue one eons of a contracting and expanding, and two, three, four, up to 10 eons of a cosmos as the contracting and expanding. So they remember their names and their uh, how do they look like, and how they lived and what they eat and so on, and how they feel pain and so on. And after ending at that one realms, and they reborn in another realms, and with that They see that the self and the cosmos is eternal, continued. And with that again, um, they hold the view that this self and the cosmos is eternal because I have seen it and it continued even now. And comes into the third group, and the third ground that people, or a third ground that there is a view of eternal by, again, from 10 eons of a cosmos contracting and expanding. They could remember 20, 30, 40 eons of a cosmos contracting and expanding. And they could remember similar way of what was their name, what was their what looked like, and what they eat, and how do they feel pleasure and pain. And then after passed away from one aeons of a time to another, they still could remember their names and how they feel pleasure and pain. And on the basis of that, again, they think that the self and the cosmos is eternal. On the fourth ground, similar after ability to recollect, they use they speak of what they have worked out by logics, following in line of an inquiry and expressing their own perspective. The self and the cosmos are eternal, barren, steady as a mountain peak, standing firm like a pillar. They remain the same for all eternal, while these sentient beings wander and transmigrate, passed away and re-arise. So, on the basis of these four, people or a group of people have a view that uh, it is eternal. And the realized one, the Buddha understands this, that if you hold on to and attach to these grounds for views, it leads to such and such destiny in the next life. So he understands this and what goes beyond this. Yet, since he does not misapprehend that understanding, he has realized extinguishment within himself. Having truly understood the origin, ending, gratification, drawback, and escape from feelings, the realized one is free through not grasping. So, this is the ground that the Buddha holds, and as a result of that, he is genuinely respected. And that is the full past lives. And there are the second one. There are some ascetics and Brahmins who are partial eternalists, who assert that the self and the cosmos are partially eternal and partially not eternal on four grounds. The number one, there comes a time when, after a very long period has passed, this cosmos contracts. As the cosmos contracts, sentient beings are mostly headed for the realms of streaming radiance. There they are mind made, feeding on rapture, self luminous, moving through the sky, steadily glorious, and they remain like that for a very long time. There comes a time when, after a very long period has passed, this cosmos expands. It is expands, an empty mansion of Brahma appears. Then a certain sentient beings, due to the running out running out of their lifespan or merit, pass away passes away from that host of radiant deities and is reborn in the empty mansion of Brahma. There they are mind made, feeding on rapture, self-luminous, moving through the sky, steadily glorious, and they remained like that for a very long time. But after staying there all alone for a long time, they become dissatisfied and anxious. Oh, if only another being would come to this state of existence, then other sentient beings, due to the running out of their lifespan or a merit, pass away from that host of a radiant deity are reborn in the empty mansion of Brahma in company with that being. There they too are mind made, feeding on a rapture, self luminous, moving through the sky, steadily glorious, and they remain like that for a very long time. Now the being who was reborn there first thinks, I am Brahma, the great Brahma, the undefeated, the champion, the universal seer, the wielder of a power, the Lord God, the maker, the author, the first, the begetter, the controller, the father of those who have been born and those yet to be born. These beings are created by me. Why is that? Because first I thought, oh, if only another being would come to this state of existence, such was my heart's wish, and then these creatures come to this state of existence. And the beings who were reborn there later also are things. This must be Brahma, the great Brahma, the undefeated, the champion, the universal seer, the wielder of a power, and the Lord God, the maker, the author, the first and the begetter, the controller, the father of those who have been born and those yet to be born, and we have been created by him. Why is this? Because we see that he was reborn here first and we arrived later. And the beings who was reborn first is more long-lived, beautiful, and illustrious than those who arrived later. It's possible that one of those beings passes away from that host and is reborn in this state of existence. Having done so, they go forth from the lay life to homelessness by dint of a keen resolve, committed and diligent effort, and a right focus. They experience an immersion of the heart of such a kind that they recollect that past lives but no further. They say he who is Brahma, the great Brahma, the undefeated, the champion, the universal seer, the wielder of a power, the Lord God, the maker, the author, the first, the begetter, the controller, the father of those who have been born and those yet to be born, is permanent, everlasting, eternal, imperishable, remaining the same for all eternity. He who were created by the Brahma are impermanent, not lasting, short-lived, perishable, and have come to this state of existence. This is the first ground on which some are ascetics and Brahmins rely to assert that the self and the cosmos are partially eternal. And what is the second ground? There are gods named, deprived by play. They spend too much time laughing, playing, and making merry. And in doing so, they lose their mindfulness and they pass away from that host of gods. It's possible that one of those beings passes away from that host and is reborn in this state of existence. Having done so, they go forth from the lay life to homelessness by dint of a keen resolute, committed, and diligent effort and effort, right focus, the experience and immersion of the heart of such a kind that they recollect that past life but not further. They say the god of deprived by play and that by play don't spend too much time laughing, playing, and making merry, so they don't lose their mindfulness and don't pass away from that host of gods. They are permanent, everlasting, eternal, imperishable, remaining the same for all eternity. But we who were deprived by play spend too much time laughing, playing, and making merry. In doing so, we lost our mindfulness and passed away from that host of gods. We are impermanent, not lasting, of short lived, perishable, and have come to this state of existence. This is the second ground on which some ascetics and Brahmins rely on assert that the self and the cosmos are partially eternal. The third ground, there are gods named malevolent. They spend too much time gazing at each other, so they grow anger with each other, and their bodies and minds get tired. They pass away from that host of gods. It is possible that one of those beings passes away from that host and is reborn in the state of existence. Having done so, they go forth from the lay life to homelessness by dint of a keen resolve, a committed and diligent effort, and a right focus. They experience immersion of the heart, of which a kind that they recollect the past, that past life, but no further. And they say the gods have not malevolence, don't spend too the gods who are not malevolent don't spend too much time gazing each other, so they don't grow angry with each other. Their bodies and minds don't get tired, and they don't pass away from that host of gods. They are permanent, everlasting, eternal, imperishable, remaining the same for all eternity. But we who were malevolent spend too much time gazing at each other will grow angry with other with each other. Our bodies and minds got tired and we passed away from that host of gods. We are impermanent, not lasting, short lived, perishable, and have come to this state of existence. This is the third ground on which some ascetics and Brahmins rely on to assert that the self and the cosmos are partially eternal. And the fourth ground on which they rely, it's when some ascetics and Brahmins relies on a logic and inquiry. They speak of what they have worked out by logic, following a line of inquiry, expressing their own perspectives, that which is called the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, and the body. That self is impermanent, not lasting, transient, perishable. That which is called mind or sentient or conscious, that self is permanent, everlasting, eternal, perishable, remaining the same for all eternity. This is the fourth ground. These are the four grounds on which those ascetics and Brahmins assert that the self and the cosmos are partially eternal and partially not eternal. Any ascetics and Brahmins who assert that the self and the cosmos are partially eternal and partially not eternal do so on one or other of these four grounds. Outside of this, there is none. The Buddha understand this. If you hold on to and attach to these grounds for views, it leads to such and such a destiny in the next life. He understands this and what goes beyond this. Yet, since he does not misapprehend that understanding, he has realized extinguishment within himself. Having truly understood the origin, ending, gratification, drawback, and escape from feelings, the realized one is freed through not grasping. These are the principles deep, hard to see, hard to understand, peaceful, sublime, beyond the scope of logic, subtle, comprehensible to the astute, which the realized one, the Buddha, makes known after realizing them with his own insight, and those who genuinely praise the realized one with would rightly speak of these things. There are some ascetics and Brahmins who theorize about size and assert that the cosmos is infinite or infinite in four grounds. It's when some ascetics and Brahmins' ability to recollect and understand and experiences an immersion of the heart of such kind that they meditate perceiving the cosmos as finite. They say the cosmos is finite and bounded. Why is that? Because they didn't in keen, resolute, committed, and diligent effort and a right focus. I experience an immersion of the heart of such a kind that I meditate perceiving the cosmos as finite. Because of this, I know the cosmos is finite and bounded. This is the first ground. And in the second ground, it's when some ascetics and Brahmins, by dint of keen, resolute, committed, and diligent effort and a right focus, experiences an immersion of the heart of such a kind that they meditate perceiving the cosmos as infinite. And they say the cosmos is infinite and unbounded. The ascetic and Brahmins who say that the cosmos is finite are wrong. The cosmos is infinite and infin- infinite and unbound. Why is this? Because the dint of a keen, resolute, committed, and diligent effort and right focus, I experience an immersion of a heart of such a kind that I meditate, perceiving the cosmos as infinite. Because of this, I know. And the third ground, it's when an ascetic, some ascetics and Brahmins, by meditation, experiences an immersion of heart of such a kind that they meditate, perceiving and cosmos as finite vertically and infinite horizontally. And the fourth, they worked out by logic, following lines of inquiry, expressing their own perspective. The cosmos is neither finite nor infinite. The ascetics and Brahmins who say that the cosmos is finite are wrong, as are those who say that the cosmos is infinite. And also those who say that the cosmos is both finite and infinite. The cosmos is neither finite or nor infinite. This is the fourth ground. And there are some ascetics who, Brahmins who are equivocator, where when they are asked a question, they resort evasiveness and equivocation on four grounds. It's when some ascetics and Brahmins doesn't truly understand what is skillful and what is unskillful. They think I don't truly understand what is skillful and what is unskillful. If I were to declare that something was skillful and skillful, I might be wrong. That would be stressful for me, and that stress would be an obstacle. So, from fear and disgust with false speech, they avoid stating whether something is skillful or unskillful. Whenever they are asked a question, they resort to evasiveness and equivocation. I don't say it's like this. I don't say it's like that. I don't say it's otherwise. I don't say it's not so. And I don't deny it's not so. This is the first ground. The second ground, it's when some does not truly understand what is skillful and what is unskillful. They think, I don't truly understand what is skillful and what is unskillful. If I were to declare something is unskillful, I might feel desire or greed or hate or repulsion. That would be grasping on my part. That would be stressful for me, and that stress would be an obstacle. So, from fear and disgust, with grasping, they avoid stating whether something is skillful or unskillful, whenever they are asked a question, they resort to evasive and equivocation. I don't say it's like that. I don't say it's like that. I don't say it's like this. I don't say it's like that. I don't say it's otherwise. I don't say it's not so. And I don't deny it's not so. And this is the second um, ground. And when some doesn't truly understand skillful and unskillful, they think um, so. There are clever ascetics and Brahmins who are subtle and accomplished in the doctrine of the others, hair splitters. Well, think, you would think they live to demolish conviction with their intellect. They might pursue, press, and grill me about that. I would be stumped by such a grilling. That would be stressful for me. And that stress would be an obstacle. So, from fear and disgust, with examination, and they avoid stating whether something is skillful or unskillful. Whenever they are asked a question, they resort to evasiveness and equivocation. I don't say it's like that. It's like this. I don't say it's like that. I don't say it's otherwise. I don't say it is not so. And I don't deny it's not so. And it's when some is dull and stupid. Because of that, whenever they are asked a question, they resort to evasive and equivocation. Suppose you were to ask me whether there is another world. If I believe there was, I would say so. But I don't say it's like this. I don't say it's like that. I don't say it's otherwise. I don't say it's not so. And I don't deny it's not so. Suppose you were to ask me whether there is no other world, whether there both is and is not other world, whether there neither is nor is not another world, whether there are beings who are reborn spontaneously, whether there are not beings who are reborn spontaneously, whether there both are and are not beings who are reborn spontaneously, whether there I and I neither are nor are not being who are reborn spontaneously, whether there is a fruit and the result of a good or a bad deed, whether there is not fruit and the result of a good and a bad deed, whether there both is and is not fruit and a good of a good result of a good and a bad deeds, whether there neither is nor is not fruit and a result of a good and a bad deeds. Realize a realized one exists after death, whether a realized one doesn't exist after death, whether a realized one both exists and doesn't exist after death, whether a realized one neither exists nor doesn't exist after death. If I believe this was, I would say so, but I don't say it's like that. I don't say it's like that. I don't say it's otherwise. I don't say it's not so, and I don't deny it's not so. This is the fourth ground that some people rely when resorting the evasiveness and equivocation. These are the four grounds on which those ascetics and Brahmins who are equivocator resort to evasive and equivocation whenever they are asked to question or ask a question. Any ascetics and Brahmins who resort this view so on or on another these four grounds. Outside of this, there is none. The realized one understand this, and those who genuinely praise the realized one would rightly speak of these things. So I end here for tonight, and we'll continue next week on further topic. So with this, may you all be well and happy.